Backman come up here and come up here, she was his wife. One thing that's very important in any department is have scholarships. And we have, I'll talk about another one in just a minute, but we had 2 new scholarships added this last year. And one of them is the Dave Engels Journalism Scholarship. Dave Backman, I'm sorry, that's right, and Terry Backman. Both worked at the Advanced Titan back in the late 70s. They'll probably get some information about that. They were the impetus really behind starting the scholarship, this Dave Engels Journalism Scholarship. They'll tell you some about that now. And so go ahead and tell us about why you worked so hard to get this scholarship started.
Thanks, Mike.
They're both alums here.
Distinguished faculty, faculty emeritus, fellow alumni, and graduates, or future graduates of the University of Wisconsin-Oshkosh Department of Journalism, good morning. My name is Dave Backman. I'm here with my wife, Terry. We are both proud to say that we are graduates of the Oshkosh Journalism program. It seems like we graduated just a couple of years ago, but actually it was back in 1978 when I knew everything. And I knew that I knew everything right here. Chairman Mike has invited us to be here today to speak about the Dave Engels Journalism Scholarship Fund, which was started last year. Personally, I call it the Dingles Fund, because just about everyone in our peer group called Dave Engels Dingles, especially when he was a student at Oshkosh. The good news is that we are about 3/4 of the way toward realizing our goal of funding an endowed scholarship. The bad news is that we have already touched base with most of the soft touches, such as family and friends and co-workers. So now we have to rely on people to contribute who may not have known Dave personally, or to ask others to continue to keep contributing. Never a science whiz, it took Dave Engels 3 times before he passed a class called Man in the Biosphere, but eventually he earned a bachelor's degree in journalism here and graduated in 1979. Terry and I can attest that he thoroughly enjoyed his student years, as did we. Dave subsequently worked as a newspaper reporter and columnist for more than 20 years, mostly at his hometown newspaper, the Kenosha News, where I also worked. He was not old at the time of his death, but I can tell you that he was an old school newspaper man who loved his chosen profession, especially covering politics. He was an editor's dream. He was the kind of reporter who, after staying awake through a 4-hour school board meeting, could slam out a budget story worthy of front page in 20 minutes to half an hour. Except for adding his byline, the copy dust rarely touched his story. He was dedicated to accuracy and fairness, and the people he wrote about seldom, if ever, complained about being misquoted or miscast. I believe Dave Engels was really hitting his stride as an award-winning journalist when he left us too soon in 2003. He was 47. After his death, Terry and I decided to try to make something positive out of this tragedy. That is why we are working to create this scholarship in Dave's name. And like many of our peers, we are seriously concerned about the perfect storm of events that is conspiring to prevent bright, intellectually aggressive students from entering the field of journalism. A main ingredient in that storm is the decline of newspapers in America, something we view as nothing short of a direct threat to our democracy. Along with fewer opportunities to work in the Fourth Estate, we recognize that a college education is becoming increasingly out of reach for too many young people. Our youngest son graduated from Case Western Reserve University in Cleveland last spring, and I can tell you he is obligated to repay the more than $65,000 in student loans he racked up in the last 4 years, plus interest. For comparison's sake, I remember that as a college freshman in the UW system, My first semester's tuition bill came to all of $265. Another impediment to a young woman or man obtaining a degree in journalism today is the reduced state funding to public institutions such as UWO Oshkosh. These young people need financial assistance from other sources such as the Dingles Fund. Now I want to speak specifically to the students in the room. Terry and I, and many of our old journalism buddies, will tell you that our success in life in large measure comes from the fundamental job skills we acquired while in J School here. We are delighted to be with you this morning in this impressive new building and to see how far our alma mater has come. Because we remember the days when Margaret Davidson held her news writing classes beneath the sometimes leaking pipes in the basement of Bradford Hall. Oh boy, we were there. Knowing that we continue to have an outstanding faculty in place, a state-of-the-art facility in which to learn, a large body of successful alumni working in the field, and a strong track record of placing graduates in journalism jobs, we are bullish on the future of the University of Wisconsin-Oshkosh Department of Journalism. But we acknowledge that actual deeds, not just mere words, are needed to ensure the continued quality education this program offers. We thank those who already have contributed to the Dingles Fund, and we ask those who have not to consider donating what they can. I would submit that only the future of our democracy is at stake. Thank you.
Yes. Another picture we need to have here. Emily Williams was awarded the first Dave Engels Scholarship last spring, and you can kind of hold it there. We'll get a picture. There, again, to this university to have a scholarship endowed, you need $10,000, and the payouts on used to be around 5%, so it could be a $500 scholarship. Well, now it's paying out about 2% because of the economy. You know, it's kind of down in the basement of Bradford. We've always been in the basement, but it's the fact that they raised enough money there, wanted to give a $500 scholarship. Peggy Davidson helped make up the difference of that scholarship the first year, and we appreciate that, Peggy, doing that. And I don't know if I hope you don't mind me saying that you did that because we appreciate it. It's a new scholarship. Again, scholarships are very important. And Emily Williams, who is news editor of the AT, virtually lives down there, as Dr. Field was a very appropriate winner of the first award. So.
Can we recognize? Yeah, I wanted to. There's two people from our generation here.
Sure.
Mary Bergine, who's a foodie writer and has published 2 books now.
3, actually.
3. And Steve Haas, who I think he graduated the year after we did. And Gary and Margaret, I still want to call you Mrs. Davidson. We're wonderful professors, and the spirit that they gave all of us to be serious about journalism. And we were in school in the Watergate era, and it was tough to get a job. It was sort of like, not unlike how it is now. Late 70s were a rough time economically, so all their support was great, as was from Doc Lippert. And Dave Engels, it's hard, you know, if you wish you could bring him back as a hologram, so you could just appreciate, the guy loved journalism, he lived journalism. It was his life, and he was kind of like one of those old guys in the movies with the rumpled coat. You know, he was kind of a Columbo kind of figure. And you know, if we went out for pizza, he'd be like, "Grab yours and get out of the way, because I'll eat the rest." And he was just, you know, he was a really amazing guy who loved his journalism life. So I hope that inspires all of you in your endeavors and your dedication to journalism. That, you know, someone like that can still be possible in today's society, in today's journalism world.
Thank you very much.